All right, well, today is April the 11th, 2019, and right now at 9:45 p.m. we have a temperature of 59 degrees. The relative humidity is 43%. The dew point is 37 degrees, and we have a barometric pressure of 29.78, which is down. All right, so we're looking at the the Northeast Pacific water vapor loop. This is the NOAA goes west water vapor loop. And we can see an area of low pressure trying to spin up near the Hawaiian Islands, just east of the Hawaiian Islands. We can see that area right here. And we can see that there is very little counterclockwise rotation right in the center of this vortex, right about here. What we're seeing, though, is a satellite transmitter manipulation right in this area. We can see part of this frontal system peeling away to the east, away from this low pressure. And we can see that very dry area right here where that heat energy is being focused. And that is redirecting this moisture away from that vortex. It should be spinning towards low pressure, but it's not. So there's very little rotation here from this transmitter manipulation. We can see a couple of straight edges there as well. And we see a blockade up around the north and northwest side of this developing low. This is a mid and upper level closed low, by the way. We'll show the pressure maps. And we can see the jet stream right here just ramming into this blockade of high pressure. None of this is normal. This area of water vapor should be flowing right towards that low pressure, like what we're seeing over here. This is a what the fake news media has been calling a bomb cyclone, right over the up near Minnesota, Wisconsin, and up in that area. We'll take a look at that. Notice the rotation in this map over there, this area, this low pressure system. Let's take a look at the next map right here. This is the western U.S. water vapor loop. Notice the rotation being allowed in the vortex of this damaging weather system. This is causing all kinds of flooding and snow and rain up in this area. And the weather controllers are just allowing it to spin. Notice the rotation right in the center. We see all that water vapor being allowed to flow back around into that vortex. But out here, near the Hawaiian Islands, by the way, this is the system that passed down through Nevada and moved out over the last couple of days. This brought zero rain to Southern California. We saw the same, this little pattern right here where we have a satellite transmitter beaming heat energy right into the jet stream flow right there. That dry area opening up. And so we're seeing the beginnings of another little bit of a low pressure right down here. And that is why we have the barometer. That's why the barometer is down at 29.78. We have low pressure in this area. And what's happening is that the wind is picked up once again because of what's happening right here. We have a transmitter opening up the atmosphere right there. And this is adjacent right to a low pressure area. You can see this beginning to try to spin counterclockwise right here. Let's show the western U.S. rainbow loop, the infrared map. And notice what's happening. Let's let that refresh. We'll come back here in a second. But notice the blockade right through here. We have a high pressure blockade all through this area that is preventing the tropical moisture from flowing up and getting mixed up with this area right here. Moving back to the bigger map, we can see that developing low right here. There is no rotation in the center. We have plenty of manipulation going on out here to prevent this from spooling up. But yet over land, where it really counts, where there's lives and people's well-being at stake, this thing here is being allowed to spool up and generate all sorts of trouble. Let's go ahead and look at the Doppler map here right now. We can see that despite all the moisture moving down through California. Let's go ahead and take a quick look once again at California. Look at all this moisture moving right down through California. The last 3 or 4 days we've had very, very heavy spraying. Then we had 1 day of wind. That was the day we did the last video. Today we had very, very heavy aerosol chemtrail spraying in the skies. And now we're seeing this area. This is an installed high pressure going in right here. But yet, all this moisture moving through, and there's zero rain on the Doppler map right here. So we can zoom in and take a a good look at this. There is California. There's some little bit of rain here in the Las Vegas and southern Nevada area and out in Arizona. But the big news is out here. This is the system that moved right down through Nevada and then moved out this way. Look at this. This has been allowed to develop. It's dumping snow up in Minnesota, Wisconsin, the Dakotas. That's all being allowed to happen. But out here, the rain was shut off. So there's the evidence there. Let's go ahead and look at the pressure maps here real quick. We can see the first the jet stream map here. We can see the pattern diving down through California, yielding zero rain. And then we have the flow pattern here through Baja and out through Mexico. We have some jet stream flow around this low that's developing over the Hawaiian Islands. This is a closed mid and upper level low pressure. But if we look at the pressure maps next, the surface map right here, we can see, look at this right down here. Look at these squiggly lines, this little area which is moving actually in a clockwise direction around that area. So we've got high pressure being installed right on top of that low at the surface level right here. And look at all the jaggies out over here. But this right here, this so-called bomb cyclone, which is a stupid name. I don't know how that ever came to be. Look at this. This is a closed low at the surface level right here. But yet out here, that giant low is completely been squashed out. And we have high pressure, of course, right there. Let's look at the 500 millibar next. We see this closed low pressure area right here where that low is trying to spin. We have the closed low over here. This is all spinning counterclockwise. And look at the isobars here. Between these two lows, they've got some manipulation going on to maintain separation. But look at this. Look at all these jaggy lines. Isobars should never look like this. This is why we never see these pressure maps on the nightly weather reports on fake news. People would begin to figure out very quickly what's going on here. So now here's the 300 millibar map. We see that closed upper level low there. We have a low right over here. The difference is with this low is that at the surface level, once again, there's nothing happening here. Instead, we see what looks like high pressure being stacked right on top of that surface area right there. This is 0 to 18,000 feet, the sea level portion of the pressure charts. So we have low pressure here, closed low, but nothing over here. 500 once again, and the 300. So this is being allowed to just run pretty much wide open. Now, if we look at the Modus Today map, I have that pulled up. This is an area up near that giant weather system. We can see that there is natural clouds mixed in over here on the left side. We can see the brilliant white. That is the natural cloud cover, which is buried under this chemtrail haze, this aerosol chemtrail haze right here. But the key thing is the pressure. The pressure has to be manipulated in order to prevent these giant weather systems from spooling up like what we're seeing here. Let's go back to the western U.S. map. We can see really well what's happening here with this so-called bomb cyclone. This is just a giant weather system that's been allowed to spin up. This actually, as I said, moved down through Nevada and then moved out this way. And we have another one starting to spin right here. That's why we have the low pressure. We've got jet stream flow diving down. This was the pattern last evening. No rain, just a lot of aerosol spraying to prevent that rain. And once again, we see that high pressure being installed right here. Let's look now at this is the infrared map. This is a real telltale of what's happening. Look at the evaporation pattern. We have a pretty much the continuity of the flow pattern, the continuity of the water vapor. We can see that through here in the very beginning. It's fairly consistent down through California, but look what happens as they install that high pressure. There's a complete evaporation pattern right there. Look at this, where the pen is. Everything is just evaporating. So we've got dry conditions right now, Central and Southern California should have had rain all day, as well as Northern California. Again, this thing here passed right down through Nevada, and they had high pressure installed on the one side. If you look at the previous video that we made here, you can see this system was right over here, and they were manipulating the west side of that to prevent any rain in the Southern California and in the southwest area. All right, so let's take a look next. This is the surface analysis map for the Central and East Pacific. We can see a storm here, 975 millibar moving due east. We have high pressure depicted here once again. Another big storm out here in the West Pacific, 978 millibar storm moving to the northeast. Now let's look at the unified map, which is right here. This is the so-called bomb cyclone out over the Midwest. And look at the pressure here being allowed, 989 millibar and 996. There's actually two lows comprising that low pressure system. And of course, there's an occluded front. They are managing this. That is, the weather controllers, these terrorists that are controlling our weather, are managing these two lows. They're not allowing them to drop, but they are. We can see that occluded front. If we go back to the, that's a warm front overtaking a cold front. This is a cold front here. This is an occluded front. So let's go back to the western U.S. map, and we can see that right here. We can see some angular features right dead center, but nonetheless, this giant mass of low pressure is still spinning vigorously low in a counterclockwise manner. That isn't the case down over here. If we go back to the big water vapor map here, we see that this is being squashed, and the frontal system is peeling away. It's being blocked. If you go to the infrared map, we can see that separation right there. We see clockwise rotation as a result of the high pressure being installed adjacent to this low. So we've got focus. We've got an effort here to stop this low pressure, but nothing being done over here. It should be the other way around. But there is a reason that weather terrorism is big business, and the floods and all the rest of it, the crops that are ruined, the homes that are ruined, all that is a big business for these insiders that know well in advance what's going to happen. They place their bets and let it roll. So that's what's happening. We should never have the Chicago Climate Exchange. None of that should even exist, particularly with evidence like this at hand, which is being ignored by the fake news, mainstream media, the same outfit that tried to frame this president. So keep that in mind, everybody, as we look at these maps and watch the fake news. A lot of things are going to be happening here real soon, the next couple of months. So we'll keep an eye on it, and we'll keep an eye on the weather as well. Okay, that's it. We'll just leave it right here. Okay.